What up, Chip and Chaps? This is part 2 of our extensive, but not at all extensive, review of the Netflix Daredevil series.
Extensive, but not.
We thought about doing a bunch of episodes, but we ended up doing our initial idea, which was 2 episodes to start off with, and then at the end we would come in and give our thoughts of the series as a whole.
As a whole, yeah. It's probably easier that way.
And the short answer is it was fucking great.
It was amazing. It was
fucking great. I just, as much as I was excited for it, I wasn't prepared for how good it actually.
I think that was it, really, because I know, like, prior to it beginning, we were like, I'm looking forward to this, finally a Netflix thing, which could mean many things, like, could be a little more violent, it could be a little more darker. It could be a lot of these things which the regular show, Shield and whatnot, can't do. And it just far surpassed anything that I was kind of hoping for it. And it's gotten me way excited. Yeah.
It's going to be darker and more violent. I just didn't quite believe them.
Yeah, it could be like, oh yeah, I'll believe you now, but I'm if you don't show it to me, I won't be like, crestfallen and be like, oh yeah, that's not.
I believed that there would be blood in it, which is very uncommon for Marvel so far.
But the amount...
didn't think that they would be decapitating anyone with a door.
And they showed the nub of his head after.
Right?
The neck.
A whole bunch of times.
I know. I was like, dang.
It just, I thought it was pretty good as far as how they depicted the violence. Most of the violence, like, even though the car door scene was really intense, if you look, they don't really show a lot of it. It's in shadow and it's far away.
It's filmed well, where you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and I saw a couple reviewers say that they weren't impressed with the look of the show, but I've got to disagree. I think it looked great.
Compared to what? What were they comparing it to?
I don't know. I saw one review say that it looked like a student film.
Wow. Clearly, I have not seen these amazing student films.
Right. I thought it looked quite good. I liked the color palette of the show.
Yeah.
It's like, there was lots of black, there was lots of heavy shadows, but the colors when they had them were very vibrant and expressive. It felt comic booky and sort of noir.
Very noir.
I just I can't say enough good things about it.
Nope.
I think that they handled the inclusion of a bunch of nerdy comic book stuff really well without it being distracting.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like if you're familiar with the deeper Marvel universe in that sense, that revolves around Daredevil, you'll be like, oh snap, they've actually included that.
Right, and as much as I'm a Marvel head, I don't know that much about Daredevil's extensive background.
Absolutely.
Like I know some stuff because I've read a few of his books. I read like Guardian Devil, and I read Parts of a Whole or whatever the one was with Echo in it. But other than that, I didn't read a lot of Daredevil. I really liked Quesada's artwork.
Yeah, he's good.
And I was really curious what it was going to be like Kevin Smith writing a Daredevil comic, so I was quite curious. But other than that, I didn't read a lot of Daredevil, so I know the basic stuff. Know who the characters are, his main cast of characters. I know that Karen Page is his love interest and has kind of a love triangle thing with Foggy. I know those types of things. But when you're showing, a random Chinese lady number 5 that could like hit people, make them go hella far, and certain like Yakuza looking people, I had no idea, and I was greatly surprised that guy ended up being the hand ninja. I kept wondering, how are they gonna fit the hand ninjas in this? That's going to be filled with spoilers, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah. If like the first episode, which was more so a play-by-play.
Play-by-play. This one, we're just going to give our general thoughts.
We're just going to talk about the things that we freaking loved about this, things that we noticed, a lot of the Easter egg type things that...
If we can think of anything, we'll say the stuff we didn't like, but I really can't think of much.
Again, It's still so fresh in my head in the sense that I am just
Glowing.
extremely happy with how they did the entire thing. But
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, the hand ninja thing. I didn't know how they were gonna fit it in, and that it
it
ended
didn't
up
feel crap,
being.
dude. It felt
It
good.
didn't. It was cool,
Yeah.
and because after that fight happens, he's like, one of them says, I don't remember which character now, but one of them's like, they're preparing. The rest of Nobu's men are preparing for this like battle thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, that means there's gonna be more hand
Mm-hmm.
ninjas. It'll be more than a one-on-one fight,
I
and that
didn't expect
one-on-one fight didn't go good for Matt. He
no.
only randomly won
Yeah.
that by happenstance.
I don't know if it was happenstance. It's almost like he did like when he lit that fire type thing the oil thing happened by
Right,
chance, I think.
right.
But knowing that it would spark if he smacked the light, that maybe it could have been pre-thought.
Right, but if there hadn't been those gasoline tank things,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and if they
What did
hadn't
it say?
covered
He
his
was
suit,
losing.
right, he was
He
definitely
was
losing
losing.
badly, by the
Yes.
way.
Yes.
And come on, Nobu, your costume is on fire, man. Take it off.
I
Don't
know
try to
that
keep
that
fighting.
was a weird thing to me, but I'm
He's
like,
kept trying to
but
kick him and
again,
shit.
they
I
did say
promise.
he was prideful. They
I
said
don't
he was
care, dude. I
prideful.
promise I will pridefully fight you naked and not on fire.
That's true. Or maybe he was like, "Hey, I'm on fire. Maybe my hits will hurt."
No, I guarantee, dude. Especially because of how quickly he died once he was on fire. Just take all the stuff off. Just
Yeah.
take it off, man. You're a ninja. You can do it. But yeah, I really liked that they included the hand ninjas. I really liked that they included Stick
Stick
because
was that
the old
episode
movie
was
didn't
dope.
include. I love how they handled Stick. Although
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, was expecting him to be in more than one episode.
Right. Right. It was literally that episode. That's it.
That yeah, that was the only time they showed it. Only
He
time they
was
alluded
great though.
to
He
him.
was he the guy that they got to play him.
Scott
Ex-
Glenn. Yeah, he's
excellent.
great, dude. He was also the like wise master in Sucker Punch.
Believe it. Oh yeah, that's right. That's where I recognized him from.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, he was a good pick for him. I
Mm,
really like how he handled it. Plus, Scott Glenn actually knows martial arts,
makes sense then.
so it's cool to have him in it. And had he not been dead, even though they made a joke about it, and I was thinking it before they made the joke, even in the show and outside the show, David Carradine also would have been a cool
Oh yeah, yeah,
stick.
absolutely. I was gonna say yeah, yeah. But I think the guy that they
Scott
got.
Glenn was perfect.
Yeah,
I'm just
he
saying,
was yeah.
had he still been alive, it
Yeah.
would have been a cool reference
Do
to
you
make.
think that it would have taken you out of the show if it was more of a recognizable face like Carradine?
Not for me because I actually am very familiar with Scott Glenn. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, so he's equally recognizable.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And for me, it would have been cool because even in the show, they made a reference to in Kung
Yeah,
Fu
yeah,
his
I know. I
line
love that.
teacher. I was like, now that would have been an even cooler
That's
reference
true because
had
it's like
he
he was
played
in it.
Stick.
That's right. That's right.
Um, but yeah, I thought it was cool that he was in it. We didn't get any reference to him in the original
Oh,
Daredevil movie.
sorry, but I know. I think I was on a previous episode that you said it would still be weird to see the little kid learning martial arts and stuff.
Right,
Do
right,
you
right.
think that took you off a little bit? Because I was fine with it. I think it worked quite
I
well.
was fine with it.
When it
My
happened, yeah.
only
What?
issue
Yes.
is that they didn't age the kid up at all.
Yeah.
So he had to have learned how to be a fucking badass ninja from Stick in a matter of months
Yep.
and then never trained with that guy ever again.
Yep.
So, which is cool, he keeps training or whatever, but I just don't think you can maintain that level of skill after only being trained for a few months.
He did.
Even if he was training him for a year,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it's going to be enough to maintain being that level of dope forever.
But he is the whole Murdoch thing where he's hardworking and stuff.
I get it, but you can only
Be as
like
badass. But in
yeah,
a sense, dude, remember, he did lose to Nobu.
he did.
Imagine
did.
he was trained fully by
But
Stick.
he beat Stick though.
Yeah, eventually. Took him a while.
It did, but I'm saying like I hope that if they do a second season, they elaborate on what training he did after Stick.
Yeah.
because
Although to be
he
honest, as
did
much as
say
they,
he's learned some new things
yeah,
since
yeah,
he last fought Stick.
I don't even know if they need to show any of that.
I just hope they do, because if they're gonna have, I assume they're gonna do the same thing if they do another season where it's gonna jump back and forth with flashbacks and such.
Yeah,
So if they're gonna have more flashbacks, I hope they delve more into why Matt is as good as he is, because he really didn't train with Stick for that long,
no,
enough to be
super badass.
completely as amazing as he is in the show. Because that hallway fight to me was one of the best fights in the whole thing,
Yes,
and that's only the second episode.
I know, I
Which
know.
is not to say that the rest of the episodes were not good,
No,
because
no, but it was
the
different
fights
kinds of
were
fighting.
top notch the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time.
Because like he fought different people and
Did
different skill level.
Yeah, and each one of those fights was different.
I know, it's
Like
so
I
good.
really like the fight with him and the bowling ball
Yeah,
guy.
the bowling alley fella. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
that fight was really
Yeah,
good, and
the one with
the
Nobu,
fight with
obviously.
Nobu was crazy, but it was,
The fight with Stick was good.
the fight with Stick was good, but that I wish it had been slightly less in shadow, but I know they had to
Yeah,
use a stunt guy for a few of it, so it's hard to make an old guy fight super fast.
yeah.
So so I get why they,
Also,
did
how they introduced Stick was pretty sick.
Yeah, dude, he's brutal.
He
Although I
is.
really want to know what the fuck was the black sky thing.
See,
They
they
never
didn't, but
said
because
it.
I think,
I'm sure it's an illusion
dude,
for something they're going to give us
absolutely,
later.
that's underlying, man. That's underlying. Like especially when in the end of that episode when Stick talked to the scarred guy.
Yeah.
What's his name? Stone? Was it Stone?
Well, that's what they're
that's what they're
speculating.
speculating. Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
how it's like, is he prepared for the war?
Right.
It's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, because I think that's another thing that was interesting to me about this series is that it was very small scale.
Yes, but I
Like
love it.
most of the fights are just between him and like three, four other people
Yeah,
tops. And the areas that the fights take place in are
in a
usually
room.
spaces, which is fine. I think they handle it really, really well,
Where
better than most other shows
Yep,
do it.
way
Any
better.
other shows,
Yeah,
really.
actually, all of the other ones, frankly, because the other one it's such a larger scale that they have to do many things, and it's just obviously it doesn't match up because the scale that they fight in those other shows, it would be like on an Avengers scale
Right.
type thing, you know?
I'm just wondering if that war is going to be a Daredevil thing,
I think
or if that
Defenders.
war is going to be what
I
Defenders
think
is.
Defenders, dude.
So if it's them fighting hordes of ninjas,
I think it's
call it
Defenders.
fucking sold.
Yeah,
It's
because the thing
sold.
is, by then we'll have Iron Fist.
Yeah, and that's another one where I'm a bit concerned, but very, very curious what they're gonna do with his outfit design.
Yeah,
Because,
they're not gonna give him the slippers.
right, but in silhouette, like the mask is very similar to Daredevil's original
Yeah,
mask.
that's true, but it's yellow.
It's yellow and has eye pieces,
Uh,
but it's similar look. But yeah, and the like super, super hardcore deep V.
We'll see
I
what they
just
do, man. They
very,
might.
very curious. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I'm very, very
no, no,
curious
no
how they're
doubt, no
gonna
doubt, no doubt.
move
Because like,
that costume.
an on-screen depiction of this is the first time that they're ever showing like Iron Fist
Right, right.
and Luke Cage.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But Luke Cage, I think, is easier to do. You can kind of do anything with Luke Cage, and it's
right,
fine because they literally just have him in most comics these days. He just wears a t-shirt and jeans or
exactly.
and a beanie for a
How about if
while.
they give him the metal headband?
They're never gonna do it. Never gonna do it.
I don't
I
know
would
what
laugh certainly, but I just can't imagine them doing it.
Speaking of funny costumes, I like how they the Kingpin.
What about?
When Kingpin was talking to his missus, how it's like, oh, some guy tried to pick her up before and he wore
Right,
like
and
a white suit, and then Asgard is like, yeah, that's stupid.
right. But at the same time,
That's awesome because it's a throwback.
I loved, like, people were like, "Oh man, he never got his white suit, yada yada."
He got his prison gear.
But his prison gear was white.
Yeah, and
but
I love
thought
that.
It's great that he got it at the same time that Daredevil got his outfit, because it's like both of them ascending to be.
Who
It
they
was
are.
both of their origin stories,
Absolutely.
basically.
That's why it was
He
so
became
good, dude.
Kingpin at the end.
That's why it was so good.
Yeah, man. And the reveal of like his prison cell looks
Hmm.
exactly like that painting, looks
I
exactly
know.
like
Like
the
the
wall
kid,
of
yeah, and I
Dano.
was like, fuck, it's
It
circle,
was
man.
great. It was
But
great.
like when he had that realization when he was in the limo, was it in the limo or some shit? I forget who he was talking to. But when he had the
Mhm.
realization where it's like he thought that he was this particular character in the story, but
Oh
it's
yeah, it was in the truck
yeah,
on
there we go. When he's like, but I
when he was
wasn't.
arrested or
Yeah, he's like,
whatever.
but I wasn't. That
Yeah,
wasn't who
I'm
he
not
was.
the
I
what was
fucking
it? Not the merchant. Oh, what was the name of the character? He was so upset
yeah,
that he
but
wasn't that.
I loved that scene because
Yeah, it
he
was.
was just getting like he brought so much to this role, dude.
Hmm.
Ah,
He
so good.
I thought he was really great. I think Vince D'Onofrio is a good
I
actor.
think he's a great actor, but
It's but I gotta say he wasn't the Kingpin I was expecting,
yeah,
but that's fine with me.
yep, I'm okay with that.
It's not the Kingpin that I had established in my mind of what he would mainly what he would sound like. I think he looked fine.
Mm.
He wasn't as fat as I was expecting,
I liked it though. He was a
but I
realistic.
thought
It
it was
wasn't
fine.
like
He was fine
a
body type. It
blob.
wasn't exaggerated,
Yeah,
but he didn't sound like I guess you know what it is. I have the like 90s Spider-Man
I know you
Kingpin's
do.
voice like
I know
ingrained in my
you
head. Like
do.
that's what Kingpin sounds like. Very like aristocratic.
Yeah. Well, he's overly
Uh,
rich and stuff.
right.
I really enjoyed this depiction of Kingpin.
I thought that it was handled really well because he's you know I think they perfectly cast the young Kingpin
Yeah.
because the way that they spoke was very similar. And when Kingpin got mad, it very much was, and I think it was conscious decision, he sounded like an angry child.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Like he was throwing a tantrum.
Exactly.
Love
Like,
it.
you know, I want
Hmm.
to get what I want. And he would scream
Exactly.
in a similar way that like
Yeah.
the kid did when he was doing the like kick him again, kick
Yeah.
him again.
Yep.
The way
Exactly.
he was screaming that was very
Hmm.
similar to like the infight perhaps where
Dude,
he was like,
that scene when he was just smashing
you took
his
everything from me. You took
yeah.
everything from me. And he kept screaming it and
Hmm.
screaming it. It was them setting up that pattern, and I
Yep.
think that was handled
Perfectly. Yeah.
fantastically.
Perfectly. When that kid though, when that kid Kingpin was hitting his
Smashed
dad
him
with
with a
yeah,
hammer.
brutal.
Pretty hardcore.
Brutal. Off screen, but effective. Like again, you
It,
don't have to show
similar
everything.
to
The
the
car
scene
door.
of his dad beating his
Oh yeah,
mom.
yeah.
It was all you don't see it,
You heard it.
but it's intense, and
You heard it.
you're looking at you know Minnie Wilson's expression as
And
he's
also
trying
the
to
wall.
focus on the wall.
How he's looking at the wall. Yeah.
Right. And it made that brutal, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you feel for that kid and
Yep.
you're like, yeah, of course kill that guy.
Yeah. Because he had to
But
like imagine. Because like you'd have to imagine how many times he had to sit through that.
right, right.
So and he just got to breaking point, and he was just like, no, you can't do that.
Well, yeah, at the same time I feel like that breaking point was his dad's fault because
Oh
his
yeah, yeah,
dad
no,
had done
absolutely,
that earlier, making him beat
absolutely,
that kid up.
absolutely.
And you know, another bit of storyline from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon was that at one point his dad or somebody he worked for had him doing like you know simple little like getaway type things
Hmm.
and as part of some sort of mafia or whatever,
Yep.
and then they all run but Wilson's fat and can't keep up, so they leave him there and let him get caught, and his dad like leaves him there or something.
Mm.
And I thought that was interesting, but this newer version of the storyline where his dad like wants to be like specifically that they made it so his dad wanted to be part of the city council
Yeah,
is even better. It elevates what Kingpin's goal
that's
is in the
exactly it.
show.
Because in a sense, it's like he's basically doing what his dad wanted to do,
Right.
but better, but bigger, larger scale.
Yeah, he was obsessed with the city, I
Yep,
think even because of that.
exactly. It's
Um
just so fucking well done.
it is well done. And it's even I love that they have committed and you kind of have to really
Yeah,
with Daredevil to keep the name Hell's Kitchen
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
because it used to be called Hell's Kitchen, but they changed it a long time ago.
To what? What's it now?
I think it's Midtown West or something
Okay, Hell's Kitchen.
because Mayor Giuliani, when he took over, he actually cleaned up the area and New York in general
Yep.
by a a lot. Like
Yeah.
the crime and stuff all went down, and it's a much different place than it was back
Mm-hmm.
then. But it used to actually be called Hell's Kitchen, and he was like, "Yeah,
Oh,
that seems bad. Let's just call it a different thing." So now it's Midtown West or
but
South or
I
something.
like that in the story they're still keeping that because
You
it's
have
something that,
to.
yeah, but not just that, it's something that the people who live there still recognizes.
Yeah, and I think in that story it's literally still called Hell's Kitchen, but you can't not call it Hell's Kitchen when it's Daredevil. Like the
Mm,
devil has to be in Hell's
yeah.
Kitchen.
Also, the whole justification of the devil and stuff was fucking sick.
Oh yeah, all of that was
Why they called
fantastic.
him the,
How it was handled
yeah,
was
oh,
great.
it was just like,
The
this
only
is,
one that didn't fly for me completely was at the end when he gets the name Daredevil.
oh, yeah, yeah, because it was the cop. He's like, what am
Yeah,
I gonna
because it was
call
just
this
the
guy?
cop being like,
Yeah,
that guy jumped up on the
like,
fire escape.
like a daredevil.
Right, right.
That's basically, you know what? That's what he was thinking. In my head, I'm like, let me guess. That's where he's gonna get it from. Sure, he looks like a daredevil, but then he's like,
Well, he
he's
looks like a
flipping. He
devil,
looks like
not
a
a
devil,
daredevil.
yeah. But that's what I was like. He looks like a devil, but then he's like flipping and stuff at above him, and he's like, that's like a
Right.
daredevil, haha,
But
funny
still
pun.
better than the 2000 whatever
Oh
3
yeah.
or 4
How
version
did he get
where
his name there?
he got the name Daredevil because he would fearlessly jump over everything, and that was it.
Okay, I pass on that.
And they oh man, what was the other thing that too? He had some other weird reason of where the name came from, but he said that people used to call him the Daredevil anyway because of him jumping over, doing parkour, being blind. And then his dad's boxer name was Jack the Devil Murdoch.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You mentioned it, Jack the Devil Murdoch. Rather here, it's like battling Jack
Right,
Murdoch.
because that was his actual name was Battlin' Jack
Yeah,
in the comics.
makes
Um,
more sense.
but uh, but yeah, all the character stuff with Wilson was great. There was a couple deaths that were pretty bonkers to me, and I didn't see them coming just because I don't know why you would kill these particular characters, and but it worked for the story or whatever, sure. But one of them was Wesley to me.
Yeah,
Killing Wesley really was a bizarre choice to me, just because I connect him so much with Wilson Fisk.
yeah.
And that would have been fine on its own, because then you go, now you can give him some other henchmen, and Spider-Man's connected, so he could technically get Smythe now.
Yes.
But the big one that really kind of turned me off, the only
Was Ben?
decision that turned me off was Ben
Yeah.
or Urich.
Ben was
How do
great, by
you
the way.
He was great, but you can't kill Ben Urich, man.
I know.
You can't.
I know. It
Not
was.
now.
I know. Like this soon.
They just got
I
Spider-Man.
know.
Don't kill Ben Urich now.
I know. That's
He
why.
should have been the one. He should have been the one to cover the story that we talked about in our fantasy Spidey
Yeah,
film.
I know.
There's a Spider-Man running around New York,
It
and he
should have
looks
been
like
Ben
a
because
young
he's the
kid.
only other recognizable.
Exactly,
I
man.
know. It
And
was
and
sad.
had they signed that deal any sooner, he would have been working at the Bugle.
I know, dude. I know. I
And
know.
instead, they had to come up with New York Bulletin and make the logo for it kind of look like the Daily Bugle,
I
which was kind
know.
of
It was just weird because I'm just like, it was a bit of a stink, but it wasn't obviously, it didn't ruin the show for me, but it was almost like, oh, that's kind of a missed.
yeah. Well, it couldn't ruin it for me because it was like the second to last episode.
Yeah.
But
It's still, it's a
but that
shame.
one still that one stung me just
Yeah,
because of Ben Urich has so much more he could have done in that series.
absolutely.
He was a huge part of Civil War. He was the part of the Civil War front line. Him
Like,
and one other reporter
who are
covered
they
all
gonna
of
get
Civil.
now, though? Who are they gonna get now to do that, to replace that?
I have no idea. Like Ben Urich is their biggest reporter character.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Now he's gone, right? And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they signed Spider-Man so recently, and they were already finished working on
I know,
Daredevil.
that's the problem. It's like, well, we can't change that because that's a major plot point to the fucking. It's
Although,
yeah. What?
although I had heard recently, Kevin Feige had said they already knew they were working on a deal. They already knew that Spider-Man was coming over in October,
Figured.
but
So
they couldn't say anything because all the deals and paperwork and stuff hadn't been officially
it's
like
not. Yeah. If it's not official, you can't say nothing.
Yeah, and so because it wasn't set in stone, they couldn't say anything. But they had known as early as October last year that Spidey was coming, or they were working on Spidey coming over. Um, which was around the time that they did the Phase 3 press conference.
Yeah.
And still, had they announced it back then, it would have been pretty insane. But it means also that if they had known in October that they were working on the Spidey deal, that they didn't really wait long at all to find out what was going on with Amazing Spider-Man, because that movie was summer of that same year.
No. At that point, you knew Sony was probably like, yeah, fuck
So
it.
I think
Let's.
they went. It didn't make as much as the first movie. It
No.
should be going up and not down.
And people are hating on it.
Yeah, we're just done, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, let's do it this way.
Let's save it now instead of
Mm.
doing a third one that everyone's gonna hate even
And then
harder.
obviously, even a lot of information came out where it's like, oh yeah, Sinister Six, like all those things. They were just like, yeah, we already know what's gonna happen. So even if those do happen, it's not gonna be what they think it's gonna be.
Right. And again, man, Drew Goddard, he killed it with Daredevil.
If he's doing
So
Spidey, I'm
if
fucking
he's the
cool.
guy doing Spidey, man, I'm fucking
It's
on
gonna
board.
be ground level, hopefully.
Yeah, seriously, man. I really hope so, and I hope that the action is a bit more hands-on with Spidey. Like I hope he actually fights people.
Yeah, instead of
I
just like
feel like
throw shit and web him.
right. I think in the other Spider-Man movies they had a habit of like he jumps a little bit and he kicks a guy, but mostly he only fights real big dudes or people with hella powers.
Hmm.
I want to see Spider-Man take on
Street
a
levels.
yeah, street level like a group of criminals,
Hmm.
Take out
He didn't do that.
have him do a thing where he's preventing a bank heist, but instead of just
Webbing
Doc Ock,
everything.
it's several dudes.
Yeah,
And he has to slink around on the walls and web dudes up and stuff. I would love to see that. Hopefully, hopefully we get something similar.
hopefully that'd be good.
Um, but yeah, that was the one death that was kind of intense for me was the Ben Urich one,
And the
just
way
because
he got killed though,
so much more potential for that guy.
just choked.
But
Just
way
choked to
better
death.
than the Ben Urich of the 2003 one.
I've literally cleared my head of the 2003 Daredevil film.
It's very fresh in my mind.
Did you recently watch it?
No, but I want to. I want to watch it with Kanoy now that we've watched the
The
series
the
together. Just so
director's
we can be
director's
like
cut?
either one. Just
Director's
because it's funny to see
how
how
bad it is?
they handle it.
How bad it is?
Some of it is bad, certainly.
Yeah.
Most of it is bad, certainly.
I
But
still I
I
still
think
read
it's
it different
interesting how
places.
different they handled it.
I
Like
still read it different. Oh yeah. I
the
kind of
foggy, like how foggy is in it is similar but very different. How
yeah.
Matt is similar but very different. They don't even have Karen Page in it. They
No.
skipped her altogether and went straight for Elektra, which I still think was a mistake.
Yep.
Um, I'm really excited if they decide to include Bullseye next season,
Yes.
which I definitely think they could.
Because
I
it's
I don't think that sniper was Bullseye. I think that was reaching.
that's
Uh,
that's definitely like I think it's Easter eggs type thing. It's like
I
oh
don't think that was connected
yeah
at the Bullseye. From what I remember, that's not that weird of a thing for snipers to have a card there. I
yeah.
can't
I thought
remember
it
what
was
it's
like
for, but I think there is an actual purpose for that card. For having a card thing. I can't remember what it is now, but I feel like I've seen it in other stuff. But I don't think that was Bullseye at all. But I hope that he shows up. I hope that there's more hand ninjas next time, and if
right.
there's gonna be hand ninjas, I hope that Elektra is one of them. They had the little like supposed Easter egg, and I did catch it when I was watching it with
Yeah, I
Kanoa,
did.
that he dated a Greek girl.
I was like
And I
oh
was like,
snap.
well, they specifically mentioned a Greek girl, so that has to be at least somewhat of a hint towards Elektra.
Yeah.
But that he would have met her in college and dated her makes me think maybe it's not her because then if she shows up again, then they have to have already had some sort of backstory together. But maybe that makes it easier. I don't know.
Maybe. Or unless it's like he's just got a thing for Greek girls.
Right, but I hope she does show up.
Yep.
I thought Rosario Dawson's character was cool.
Yep.
I think I like that they handled her in the way that they did. and then kind of quickly got her out of the picture that so that she can go interact with the other characters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she's got to be around for Luke Cage at least,
Yeah.
because she has actual connections to him. They used to be married. Um, so I think that
Do you
they'll
think they're gonna
connect.
go that far?
I don't know that they'll have automatically made them married, but I think that she will be involved in that show in some way.
In some capacity.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised completely if she was also involved in AKA Jessica Jones.
Mm.
Um, but I'm also curious how much Luke Cage is going to be involved in AKA Jessica
Yeah,
Jones. I
they
think
say he's not, he's just a barely supporting character.
right, but he should show
He
up.
no, he's gonna show up for sure because
I know
that
they
one
tested
goes
them together.
well, and plus that one bleeds right into the Luke Cage one.
Right, but I know that they when they cast her,
They
they had
tested. Okay,
her work with whoever the Luke Cage guy was. They
makes
were
sense.
because they cast her first, and then
Yep,
they were testing Luke Cage's with her. They had to have chemistry because they are actually supposed to date
makes
in the
sense.
story.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
so hopefully that is cool. I'm even more excited for those series now that I've seen Daredevil, because of how well they handled all the dark and stuff. Because AKA Jessica Jones is super super dark. The only one that I'm less excited for now, honestly, is Luke Cage's series.
You're not looking forward to
Not really. Uh,
because
because out of all four characters, he's the one I know the least about,
yep,
and his villains are definitely I don't know much about at all. His power set is kind of lame to me. I mean, depending on how they handle the enhanced strength part could be interesting, but just you can shoot me and bullets bounce off isn't very interesting to me. So I'm hoping that he's cool, man. If they figure out some way to make him super cool and make me care, then sure. It's not like oh man, we're gonna really rake in this cool costume we're gonna give him because it's Luke Cage. They're not gonna wear a fucking costume. They're not gonna. The only costume that he's iconically known for is the one they're definitely not gonna fucking put him in
yeah,
because it would make even less sense for him to wear that now.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I can't imagine it. They'll have some version of his chains probably, and and he'll be buff and bald and have a goatee. That's pretty much all. But out of Jessica Jones, I'm really excited for because that story is crazy, and Iron Fist I'm excited for because that fighting has to be insane. If Daredevil's fighting was what it was, Iron Fist has to
Yeah.
be equal.
Iron Fist is the one that I'm just like I can't wait.
Yeah, that's got to be 13
I
episodes of Kung
can't.
Fu movie because
I can't
Iron
wait.
Fist. That's his whole shtick is that he's amazing at
Yeah,
fighting.
and the fighting shown in Daredevil was bonkers.
And because Defenders is a six episode thing, it's not like a one shot movie
Yeah.
type deal. I'm looking forward to them fighting each other. It's got to
Yeah,
happen.
absolutely. And also think about it. 6 episode, about 50 minutes each. That's about two really long movies.
Right.
Or three shorter
Three,
movies.
three 2 hour
Yeah,
movies,
which is
basically.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to
We'd
that.
essentially be getting a trilogy of flicks.
You know what I was telling Kanoy too? It almost makes me sad that Spider-Man's not going to be a Netflix series just so
Right?
I get
Dude,
13 hours of
I'm
Spider-Man.
telling you, man. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, an episodic Spider-Man one to me makes more sense also.
Yeah, if they can afford it, man, I'm just like, bring them all to fucking Netflix. Don't even fuck around with the movies anymore, man. Just I want 13 hours of every character I love.
Like, I would have paid to watch this Daredevil thing on a larger screen.
And now that they've done it, now that they've done the Daredevil thing, wouldn't it have been way better than Gotham to do a Batman Year One in that style?
Dude, you know what? A lot of them are like, shit,
Yeah, we
shit.
fucked up, man, with that Gotham thing. We
Well,
fucked
not
up.
just a lot of the ones are like, damn it, I didn't know we can do that.
Yeah,
Like, it probably didn't even cross their minds. They're probably like, oh yeah, if we do it network, it'll definitely reach, bigger audiences. That's true. That's true. You can reach. But the fact is, if you've got great word of mouth based on what they already made with Daredevil, and a lot of people already have Netflix.
all right.
Uh, once this goes on iTunes, more people are gonna buy it. You know they're gonna have
Yeah,
a
for
Blu-ray
sure.
release of this, which I'm probably gonna buy because I want bonus features.
Hmm.
It's already done. Like, sure, it's like, but don't you have Netflix? You can watch it anytime. It's like, yeah, I could, but I want bonus features.
Yeah, hella want bonus features
And
too.
if they didn't record any, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm positive they did. They'll have something on the
Crazy to
suit,
me.
which is the thing I'm most interested in seeing. I
All right.
love watching
Also,
them
his suit in
take
motion.
the
What do you
suits.
reckon?
I loved it.
I loved
Loved
it,
it.
dude. I love
I thought
how he
that
came about to making it as well.
yeah, that made sense to me. I think that the mask looked
It's
kind
the
of odd, but
nose.
it's just because
You're right, dude. I remember you
Charlie,
saying.
yeah, Charlie Cox has a strange shaped face,
Mm-hmm.
and but the space between his eyeballs and his nose is very, very small. So it made that space look even smaller once it's like a full head hood kind of thing.
I think also the length of the bridge of the nose.
That's what it is mainly.
Yeah,
That's what I mean by the amount of space between. It's the really the length of the bridge of his nose is very small.
because it cuts above where his nostrils go. If they had
Right, it
extended
cuts
it
right
slightly,
above
where
it.
it makes a point,
Exactly.
like a Batman type cowl,
Right, exactly.
it would have looked cool. But I still think as
Either
a suit,
that or cut it above all
yeah,
the way
that's
like
exactly
Captain
yeah,
America or
exactly.
something.
If they did it more like Captain America's, because
Yeah.
here it's kind of like a slightly in between, leaning more towards the full length of the nose, but it's not
Right.
just right there. I understand why they probably didn't do it that way because people think, oh, it's almost like Batman-ish.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make it look similar to
But I
what his
like it.
mask cut was in the black suit.
Yeah,
Because his black suit
yeah,
one
that's
was
true. It
like the
didn't go all
same.
the way. Yeah, yeah. I like it though. This costume looks great.
I think it looks good. I think that it's cool that that it's gonna evolve.
Yeah, his weapons are cool as well.
His weapons are cool, and he didn't have the DD, but it makes sense because he wasn't
No,
Daredevil till after he had the suit.
no,
But now
exactly.
when Defenders happens, he can have the
He
suit.
could if he wants. To be honest, he doesn't need DD on his chest.
He doesn't, but I think he'll get it now that he has a name.
Yeah, probably. Now that the city knows that he's then as Daredevil. I
Right.
love the newspaper article when
Oh
they
yeah,
showed in
yeah.
the end how it's that image. I'm like, that's a sick image. It's a nice artist representation.
It was, but that's also an old cover.
I know, but that's like obviously in their world, it's an artist representation.
Right. And I
Yeah.
liked that they altered it to be that new suit
Yep.
instead of just.
Exactly. I was
And
like, that's
also,
awesome.
a fucking great job to that cop because he had to
Here,
describe what that suit
I
looked
know
like.
exactly. Yeah, I was like, well, he's the one that named him.
Right.
Daredevil.
You saw that dude for a second in the
Yeah.
dark in an alley and had
Hmm.
that suit down pat. Anyway, the suit looked great. I thought
Yeah.
the armor looked cool. The explanation for it made sense.
Yep.
And it's from what I understand, fairly comic book accurate to what how the suit stuff worked out.
Yeah, it just looks good though. This
As
show,
far
man.
as the Potter guy
This show.
being the one that made it, the Gladiator guy.
Yeah.
Apparently, he makes Wilson Fisk's suit and shit in the comics as well. So, yay for them to be able to put that in there. But that's another thing that I was saying about all the Easter eggs and stuff that they put in it. It's cool that it works even if you don't know it. Because Kanoy
Yes.
enjoyed the show immensely.
Yeah.
I sent one of those recommendation things to Eric and Melissa. They watched the entire series in one night.
Wow, good on them.
Yeah,
Good on them.
yeah.
Did
So
they
it's
enjoy it?
good. Yeah, they loved it.
Awesome. See,
I don't think you can watch a whole series of something.
I was
and
gonna
not
say,
like
I was gonna say in my head, I was like, as I was saying, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they enjoyed it if they
it. Yeah,
binged the entire
exactly.
thing.
They enjoyed it quite a bit, and they're definitely not huge comic book
No, not at
readers.
all.
So if they could enjoy it without knowing any of the stuff,
Mm.
then that's even better for
That's what
that
I was gonna
series.
say as well. Like this show, if you didn't know it was based on a comic,
Yeah.
it's still a great show,
Yep.
and
And
it's like it. He is a vigilante.
he is a
That's
vigilante,
really it.
and that's kind of his whole thing is the struggle in his mind
Hmm.
of is what I'm doing good or is it the worst, and the fact that he is a lawyer by day and that by night. Wasn't expecting them to reveal the secret to Foggy.
Yes, that was that. I was like, ooh, but I like it. I like it. I like that his
I
friend
do
knows
like it,
now.
but I thought for sure that would be like a second season thing.
Yeah,
Then he
I
knows.
I do like that episode was great too. By the way,
That episode was the best episode
that
almost.
episode was
Like
fantastic.
all the backstories, their chemistry together
It's
as
great,
friends
isn't it?
like
You-
weirdly really good.
You feel like, yeah, these two literally know each other.
Yeah. and
Casting was
and
great there.
I loved that connection between them, all the
Mm,
joking back and forth.
yeah.
I saw some other complaints about Foggy. They think that that he fits the rest of the Marvel universe, but not the universe they've established for Netflix. They think the Netflix series is too dark for what Foggy was,
No
and
way.
I think it's perfect that Foggy is what he is in that
Yeah,
universe.
he's if people say he's closer to the Marvel universe than he is the Netflix Marvel universe, I think
Right.
that's great because he's essentially
Right.
that link then.
Yeah. And again, you know, their connection to each other is what really sold it for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, you could tell they've been like, I know it's acting, but that's great acting. Then chemistry worked well there.
Yeah, I think them walking around on campus drunk,
It was great, right? How they were just mucking around. Yeah,
that whole scene felt authentic
I
to
was like,
me.
I
Like
could have
that
watched the
feels
whole
like two
episode of
friends
that.
hanging out.
I could
Yeah,
have watched the whole episode. Yep.
all the little stuff of like Matt like putting his walking stick between his legs while they're
Mm-hmm.
walking and stuff to trip him.
It's like a
All that
slot.
stuff
Real.
feels genuine.
Yep.
You know, it feels almost like improv. I'm sure it wasn't, but it
Yeah.
feels like improvisation because it's so genuine.
I was making fun of him learning Punjabi.
Right, right. And the avocados
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
avocados. Great.
Yeah,
It felt natural.
yeah,
Felt natural.
feels I can't think of another word, but it feels very genuine to
Yeah.
me. It felt real and authentic between
I
them.
loved it. This show was great.
Kieran Page is great.
She's dope. I
She is
but now
quite
that they've
dope.
obviously established, it's like, oh yeah, she's got some dark backstory going.
She does, and apparently has shot a dude before.
Yeah, that wasn't the first time she shot a person.
Right, and I'm curious what they're gonna do with her. I hope they don't go the porn star route.
Or she's got a lot, doesn't she?
She's got quite a few little weird things in
They
her
could just make
backstory
it
of
a
drug
dark,
use, and
just a darker past.
they seem like they alluded to that as well
Hmm.
about her saying, "I'm thinking about moving to the heavier stuff," and he's like narcotics or whatever, because she had a drug problem at one point in the
Yeah.
comics. She did porn at one point in the comics, and from what I understand, like was threatened with that porn at one point, and she gave up Matt's actual secret identity to the Kingpin. I do like that they didn't reveal his
Yes,
identity to
I
King.
do too.
Keep that from
Yeah,
him as long as you
absolutely.
can, please. Don't let
Also,
him reveal it ahead of time.
when you that nightmare that she had of Kingpin in her apartment was fucking awesome.
That was awesome, but at the same time, I'm like, she's never conversated
I
with
know
him.
that's why it
How
was
does she
weird,
know
but
his
I'm just
mannerisms that
just
well?
the depiction of it was just brilliant though.
It was great. It was terrifying. It scared the shit out of me.
It
Like,
was
if you could
creepy.
have seen her face,
Really?
dude, she looked devastated with concern. It was
I can
so
imagine
good.
it right now. I was like, oh, oh, what's
It was
going on? Yeah.
basically that meme face that you like, where they're like leaning backwards and looking down.
Yeah. Yeah,
It looks like that one.
that one. That's what I was imagining.
Yeah, it looked like that, and it was fucking hilarious. But you know, series was great, man.
Yeah.
I know we're glowing about it for as long as we've been
I know,
recording,
but the thing is,
the series was really
it's
that
yeah,
good.
it's really that good. It's like again, if we can, like, maybe in a month's time, we'll do another episode as just a look back at this, just to
Yeah,
see if there's things that they could fix. But to be honest, as much like everything, nothing is perfect. You know, no
yeah,
show, no movie, nothing is perfect. There's always things that we can change that we'd like differently, but what they've presented to us was more than I had originally expected. So again, even if there's like little things that we'll eventually find that's wrong or that we don't like about it, it's not
right.
like it's not like it's going to take away from what it's presented.
Hmm. One thing I liked the concept of, but the execution wasn't great for me,
Mm.
was the world on fire concept of
Yeah, yeah.
how he sees things.
They didn't. Yeah, I
I
don't.
don't think the execution of that was great when they showed him like looking at Rosario Dawson and all
Yeah,
the weird flame
honestly,
shit all over.
they shouldn't have shown that.
They shouldn't have done it. It was
Yeah,
fine without it,
describe it
and just him
absolutely.
saying
Yeah,
like, and just a
because
little like slow mo,
yeah,
him hearing things or little chimes
absolutely. Because
happening.
I love those already.
Yeah, that was fine,
Yeah,
and it was cool that they could pull all that off without CG effects and stuff. They
right.
let it just be his thing,
Mm.
and then they kind of ruined that a little bit by showing it to
I
me.
don't think they needed to show it, but like again,
They really
that
shouldn't have.
didn't ruin it.
It didn't. It just ruined. how cool the idea was of
Yes.
his world on fire
Yes.
description.
Because if they just describe it, like when he was describing it to the painter
Right.
lady,
I
the art
liked
gallery
it.
lady, it was like, well,
I
that's intense.
I liked it because, or the idea of it because, the guardian devil of Hell's Kitchen basically sees everything in hell vision.
Yep.
But there's some degree of I liked the 2001 better, the movie way, in an aspect of it that it felt more like Radar,
Yeah,
and it was
it was like
more like,
sonar.
yeah, he hits a thing and
Yeah,
that reacts to it. Like
yeah.
people, like actual blind people that click and
That's
then they get
exactly it.
the
Yep, yep.
sound back. Like I like that concept, but I think that there's ways to show that without, because I don't like the look of what they did in Daredevil,
Mm,
because it was just kind of like blue vision.
mm.
Like he was able to see like Elektra or whatever way too clearly in the rain scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got it that he was like, I can see when it's raining. But
That's so dumb.
yeah,
That is
and
so
I get
dumb.
it, but I think that there needed to be some like in my head how I see Devil's vision is that he sees nothing. Everything is black
Yeah.
except for waves of stuff
Yeah,
passing, and he can
it's
see like
vibrations. He sees.
almost like silhouettes. He
Yeah,
would see
that's
silhouettes in
exactly it. Yep.
in the wave passing the silhouette.
That's exactly it. Like it would form shapes.
Right. It would
You know.
form just distant shapes,
Hmm.
and he would get that. And I think that would have been a cool thing to show like one time, and that's it.
That's it.
But I like that they did it all without relying on effects. Like the
Yeah.
show is very not effects heavy,
No, it's not.
where
Not at all.
at least not in a way that is
It's evident.
out in front
Yeah.
of you,
Absolutely.
which is cool. But I wonder how that will work when they. I feel like AKA Jessica Jones has to have more
Some
effects in it
effects. Well, she's
because
strong,
she's
isn't
dealing
she?
with other. She has like super strength. I think she can fly a little bit too, or she can hover or something. But there's also the fact that she's like a detective for superhero cases.
I wonder if her detective skills depicted in the show is going to be more than Batman's detective skills in the live
No,
action
she's not supposed to
movies.
be like
No, no,
that.
I'm sure, but like, I wonder if they're gonna show more of it than they did in those films of Batman, where he should be the master detective and he's like not even solving shit in the movies.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
it could be, but I think she's more of like a cop detective,
Yeah, I know.
where Batman's more like a Sherlock
I
detective.
know,
Where
but I'm just like, okay, if he's supposed to be Sherlock Detective, they didn't show shit.
right, they definitely
That's what I'm
they're
saying.
garbage about how
That's
they
what I'm
depict.
saying. Like the fact that they didn't show, they didn't really show detective skills.
Yeah, well, they're saying
Well,
in the
hopefully
new
this new one.
movie he's gonna be that Batman.
We'll
So
see.
hopefully that pans out.
Anyway, this is not
And
Batman. It's
and
Daredevil.
that's a Daredevil connection though.
That's true. Yeah.
He
Guess.
was Daredevil. Um, but yeah, man, all the character stuff that they fit in with the villains and whatnot was awesome to me. I like the inclusion of the owl, who I was mostly familiar with through Spider-Man stuff, but I think it's cool that he was in it. Older than I was expecting him to
Who?
be.
Who?
The owl.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, he was older than I expected him to be, but I like that they at least said that he has a son, because then he can get some sort of like they can involve the son maybe now that he's dead. Um, and I heard somebody say that there was some allusion to the Negative Man or whatever he's called, Mister Negative or something.
Hmm.
Who I used to get confused with Purple Man all the time, but he actually looks like Negative, like his skin is blue and his outlines are white, which I don't even know how you would do in a TV show that would
Or
look
how
really
it would look in real life.
right. How that would look to see as a
Yeah.
person. That would be so
It's
weird.
like a negative film where it's like the
Right.
light is. That's just bizarre.
Yeah, it would be super
I
weird
mean,
to see.
I've got a character in a comic that's gonna do that eventually, but in comics, it's way easier to show.
Yeah, especially if it's like stylized
Yeah,
lines.
absolutely. Or it's cell
To see a
shaded.
real person like that,
Yeah.
and that would be really. I
mean,
would
like-
like to see someone do that as a makeup.
Oh, that's intense.
That would be really cool. Um, I did like Daredevil's weapons.
Yes.
I like the evolution of him getting the sticks from Stick and showing him train with it, and then those evolving as he gets his new suit.
Yep.
and that when he got the sticks, he was reluctant, but then he makes a side holster and starts putting them in there when he's
Yep.
still got the wooden escrimas or whatever.
Yep.
I like that that kind of was a process. Although I wish that they had shown that they could like nunchuck a little,
Yeah,
like
they
they had
didn't. They didn't really show that, did they?
the rope type string kind
Yeah.
of situation. They didn't have any of that.
Again, it's something
But
that it could
but
evolve
that's
to.
another thing that requires effects, I think.
Yeah,
So
and
they
that's also
gave
something that they could just evolve to.
certainly. There there wasn't the rumored connection with Coulson, but I was fine with that. I
Yep.
think that he could still show up for Defenders, but if he doesn't, I'm still fine with it. Though it did have the ABC logo that shows up at the end of the show, so there's gotta be some. They must have had some deal with ABC already to say like our TV department is through you guys, and then to struck the deal with Netflix, and they're like, okay, fine, but you can only put your darker shit on Netflix. All the light stuff we're getting, which is still cool, man. If that's their Marvel Knights, their Marvel Max line, I'm totally fine with it.
Mm.
It'd be cool to see other characters, but I think
Let's get Punisher, man. Come on, let's do it.
Punisher would be perfect for it. Blade would be perfect for it.
Who would you cast as Punisher?
I think casting a new Punisher is way easier than casting a new Blade.
Yes, because Blade, everyone just imagines
It's Wesley
Snipes.
still in
Yeah.
everybody's mind, and
Like
I
no
think
one's
that
ever gonna say Sticky Fingers.
no, they tried it with Sticky, and it just wasn't the same. Like I
No, no,
saw
no.
some of it, and I'm like, nope, 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 nope. I really liked the guy who played Wesley. I think he did a great job
He did.
showing showing that him and Fisk were actually friends.
Yeah.
That he actually cared. Like the his reaction to finding out Vanessa was okay, he genuinely looked like,
Oh, I'm glad.
oh man, I'm happy for him. I'm glad
Yeah.
that worked out. And not just like in the 2003 movie or whatever, he just was the Weasel character. He was
Yeah.
just a
I hate.
Weasley
I
asshole
just
character.
hate those Weasley ass characters. You don't care about them.
Yep.
You know.
But yeah, I liked him much better in the series.
And clearly Fisk really that was his mate.
Yep,
Because
yep.
when he found out that he was killed, he fucking beat the shit out of the guy. But then even after that, I was like, how do you still trust him? He was like, well, Wesley trusted him.
And I hope that they go further into because the Fisk briefly mentions that he spent time in Asia as a kid.
Yes. Yes.
I hope they go into a bit of how he got so strong
Yep.
and so
Why is a
and so
badass?
yeah, badass. I hope they do that because I know in the comics like he trains at sumo and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he's clearly not big enough to be a sumo in the
No.
series. So I won't be mad if they skip that, but show something of that. I'd be totally fine with it. Um, Not necessarily of sumo, but show something of how he got to where he's at in that
Yep.
in that way. Uh, and what all he did during all that time that he was gone.
Mm.
There has to be a story of how he went from the poor kid to the rich crazy guy. There has to be some story there. And
Absolutely.
they skipped a lot of it, which is fine. I think it worked perfectly still.
Yes.
But if you're going to continue it and do more seasons, I hope they delve at some point a little bit more into that.
Yep.
Um, you know, I think otherwise they really handled everybody perfect. I don't feel like I need any more backstory on Foggy. I'm
No.
sure they'll get to it with Karen because they mentioned it enough
Yeah. Oh,
times.
that one's definitely. You know that one's. They're gonna
Right.
touch
That
on
that's
that.
gonna come out. They'll explain
Yeah, they're gonna
more of her
touch on
backstory.
that.
Uh, yeah, and it's really just those two pieces of backstory. How Fisk got to where he's at, and how Matt gets to where he's at with the fighting
Hmm.
later on in life. Because I'm sure there has to be more to it. And I hope to see it. And I really, really hope that when they do Defenders, that they give us a little bit at least of them all fighting each other.
That would be
Or at
nice.
least I
Because they
at
have to
very
meet.
least I want to see Iron Fist and Daredevil fight.
I, I, Iron Fist could take
Iron
on.
Fist has to win for
Yeah.
sure, but I want to see the fight happen.
I mean, Iron Fist of all of them is one of the best fighters.
And let me ask you this while we're at it too. With Daredevil being what it was and what we saw,
Yes.
do you think he shows up in Civil War?
That's tricky.
Do you think he even shows up in any of the Avengers movies? Do you think he shows up in Avengers 3 Infinity Gauntlet?
One thing
Because
I
what
find
how
bizarre,
do you
right?
have Daredevil fight Thanos?
You can't.
You
Oh yeah,
can't.
yeah, no, no, no. He's not going to be taking care of Thanos. No, no way.
Clearly not.
Um,
You know,
the thing about this that I find slightly bizarre is that, for example, you've got characters in Shield,
right?
the Inhumans. They can
Yep.
like level cities. Like, I mean, one of them
Yeah,
alone
some
can
of them are
level
crazy
yeah,
powerful for
one of them
sure.
alone can level a city.
Hmm.
But then you've got a cat like Daredevil, who is very. It's much more. It's so ground level that
Right.
does this even, you know, make a blip on the radar for at Shield?
You know, that's I'm wondering for sure. I think Daredevil by himself wouldn't have
The defend.
as
You,
the
you
dude
know the
just in the
defenders are
black
gonna
outfit.
like. Jessica Jones has to have made a blip on the radar.
Jessica Jones is a tough one, man, because
She's a
Jessica
superpowered being.
Jones in the comics has a lot of connections to a lot of superpowered characters.
She'd have to have been like, if not a member, I doubt a member of Shield, but she had to have been on the list of people that they're looking at.
Right. And in the comic books, she's like best buds with Miss Marvel, the Carol Danvers Miss
Yeah.
Marvel.
So and then there's I
And
don't
I know they replaced her. It's not going to be Carol Danvers anymore.
wait in oh yeah,
Not
yeah,
not in Miss
I
Marvel.
thought you mean
I
like as
mean in
Miss Marvel.
AK
No, no,
Jessica
yeah,
Jones.
yeah.
In AK Jessica Jones, they're replacing the Miss Marvel type character, I think, with Patsy Walker Hellcat. The which wasn't hell of popular, but I am familiar with her mainly because when they did the Avengers Initiative thing, where all the Avengers were getting sent to different states or whatever,
Yeah.
she got sent to Alaska.
Okay.
So I was like, that's fucking bizarre, but that's my hometown, so I'm interested. And I thought her design was kind of cool or whatever, and she's a redhead chick. There's nothing super special about her look necessarily, but I'm wondering what her role is going to be because I imagine she's just filling in for what Carol Danvers was to her, which was a superhero person that she's still friends with, even though she's no longer a superhero. So, I'm really excited for that one. These Netflix series they're going to be bonkers. If Daredevil's what it was, man, then they set the bar really high. Let's put it that way. If they've got to keep up with that. How if you're coming out of the gate and the bar is that high, you got to stay strong with it because if the rest of them are garbage, it's going to feel really really sad after
I
Daredevil.
know that's why it's like they have to be as good as this.
But I'm guessing they are. At least AKA Jessica Jones, I'm really really looking forward to. The storyline is crazy enough to where I think it's going to be a lot of really really fun stuff to watch, and there's enough characters involved in it that I'm really really excited to see it. I mean, even just the what's the Doctor Who guys, that David Tennant?
Yeah, as Purple Man.
Yeah, just the fact that they have Purple Man in it is crazy enough. But you can't do Jessica Jones' story without Purple Man in it because he's pretty fucked up to her. But I really, really want to see how they handle Purple Man. Are they gonna make him purple all the time? Are they gonna? Is it gonna be a thing
Yeah,
where
I
he just
wonder.
turns
They
purple
actually they actually showed a picture behind the scenes.
of him purple?
No, he's not purple. He just has a full on like burgundy purple suit on.
What?
Yeah, so they might just be doing.
They could do it in post.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might like tint his skin in post possibly.
Oh man, I hope they make him purple and
But
don't
he's
just
got like a full on purple
suit.
suit.
I mean, he's supposed to. That's fine. But I hope they don't just do the purple suit and not do his face, because that's the weirdest, coolest part about Purple Man is he is fucking purple.
How about if
So
how about if he's actually like he puts makeup to cover his purple, but then he's actually purple underneath it.
that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like that way, he's not.
They
He
can
doesn't.
show his
Yeah,
regular
he
face and
doesn't
whatnot.
always
That's
have to
totally
be.
fine.
Yeah, he doesn't always have to be purple, but only
As
like.
long as it's the secret is he is really
Yeah,
purple,
he's really
I'm
purple.
totally fucking fine with
That's a weird. Where it's like he just looks on. He's like, yeah, but underneath that he's purple. That's cool.
it. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If they scrape off a little bit and he's purple under it, I'm totally fine with that decision. Just don't not include it at all because
I
that would
hope
make
they do more seasons of this, man. For real.
they've got to. They've
Yeah.
got to. It's
Yeah.
already rated 5 stars on
I know,
Netflix.
which is it's been out like 3 days.
Right. Yeah, so I'm sure
Uh,
they're planning on it. The reviews of it alone are enough to get it going. If they
Absolutely.
couldn't sell the idea of a second season based on just the fan reaction, I don't know what would do it. Um, and I'm sure the numbers are high. Everybody was talking about it. It has to have been more popular than their Marco Polo fucking thing was,
yeah,
and that's getting a second season. So I'm
and I
sure
mean, yeah, exactly. Like if Marco Polo, which was a great
which still
show,
was good.
which is a
Marco
great
Polo was
show,
quite good.
and that's getting a second season. This one, if it has to get a second season.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's sold itself well enough for people to be like, yeah, dude, this was perfect.
Yep. It really, really was, man. It really, really was. I'm so much more excited for the idea of street level characters now.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I'm like, it sucks because I'm like, I don't even care if we don't get another Shield episode. Give me
Right?
another. Like,
I'm really curious where Shield's going. I'm not
I
done.
am no, I am too. I'm not done with Shield. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Shield is shit. I'm liking where Shield is going at this point.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I think it's doing really well. But like if they said this is the last season of Shield and we're just gonna get more of these Netflix type shows, then I'll be like, yeah, cool.
My only issue with that
We gotta get
uh,
Netflix. Oh, you gotta wait
is
a year.
no is the the wait because they
Yeah,
put out everything at once. You watch it all in fucking 2 days,
yeah.
and then you're done until they have time to fucking put out the next one,
That's
which
the
is going to be
problem. That's the
months and months.
problem.
And we have to wait for 4 whole new series to come out before we get a second season of Daredevil.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
That's.
and we watched it in 2 days, so there's nothing to look forward to.
But
It's
you know
just
what?
done.
I'm fine with that also because I can rewatch this season over and over if I wanted to.
You can, but how cool would it be is if we had gotten that first episode and then we had to wait until the next episode come out? Like I feel like there's a
Oh
bit
yeah,
of
yeah,
hype for
absolutely.
that. Because we know how good that series was. Imagine having to wait for that.
Oh,
The anticipation
dude,
for the way
after
those
each,
the episodes end.
yeah, after each episode, I was like, damn it, I want next week to happen now.
Yeah, the episode where where the cops
Oh, dude,
catch Matt.
that one. That's why I watched an extra. That's why
Oh, right.
I went to bed already, dude. And I
Yeah.
got to that, and I'm like, nope, I'm watching the next episode. I know I have to get up like in 4 hours. I don't
Right.
care.
But I gotta know how
Yeah,
the fuck
and,
he
and
gets
then I
out of that
watched it, and I'm like,
situation.
great, I got 3 hours to sleep,
Yep.
but it was worth it.
Oh man, it was just so good. Like all these superhero shows, man, they gotta step their fucking game up
I
because
know.
Daredevil just crushed.
Dude, it's not even superhero shows. Superhero movies at this point also have to really bring it. Not that they haven't been, but this literally set a bar for me, anyways, in terms
Yeah.
of a live action comic book adaptation slash superhero adaptation. It set a bar.
It really
The
did.
quality is high.
And I think it made it very apparent like the difference between the movies and what the Netflix series stuff was. It's like the movies are the movies because of all the because it's so crazy
It's
effects
spectacle.
heavy.
It's a spectacle.
It's just how expensive
Yeah.
that is to do all those effects
Yeah.
the way they do them. You can't do that shit in a
Nah,
TV show
you
and make it
can't.
look like what it does. But I'm curious what the budget for this show was because like Flash is able to do some pretty crazy shit with their effects
Right, exactly.
on CW budget.
Yeah. Well,
And in my mind,
we
I'm
don't
like,
know what,
CW's
but we also
budget
don't know what their budget is per episode.
We don't for sure, but I
We
feel
don't.
like in my mind at least, CW's budget
Shouldn't be a lot.
or shouldn't be way more than what
No,
Daredevil's was.
no. But for all we know, who knows if Daredevil's budget was actually really low?
Right, that's it's definitely could have been.
And if it was, I could buy it. If it was high, I could still buy it because I mean the quality was still like the way it's filmed alone is better than CW shows.
They don't, unfortunately, I don't think they put out budget information for TV shows
Mm.
like they do for movies.
Well, they put out the budget info for like Game of Thrones.
Do they?
I thought they did.
On like Wiki and stuff?
On certain sites, I know they list the budget for like each. I think like each Game of Thrones episodes cost a couple of mil.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, it's not, but
You know, you got to pay for those fucking dragons and whatnot.
who barely show up.
They do barely show up, but when they do, they look pretty
They look
good.
great when they're there. Uh,
But yeah, the fact that there's so little visual effects in that show make me really curious what that budget
mm,
was. And and I'm even more curious how they will handle the powers in the other shows.
yeah.
Like AKA Jessica Jones has to have some
But again,
effects in,
check it right. If Shield show powers,
right?
I'm sure Jessica Jones is not going to be too much of an issue.
It's true. It's true. I just, I wonder how different it will be because,
Because we're seeing some sweet effects on Shield, dude.
yes, Shield has some pretty solid effects
You
on
got
it.
teleporter fella. You got when Sky does her earth
Her thing
shaking
is the
shit.
easiest
Yeah, I know,
effect
but
though. It's
like when
the
everything
shaky
else,
cam.
it is a shaky cam. But then you've got like the debris, afterwards,
Yeah.
the aftermath. It's there.
I thought that how they the main effect that that actually really surprised me in Shield was Reason. It was the Black Bolt stretchy mouth guy. I thought that looked pretty crazy.
It looked
Uh,
good, right?
it did, yeah. So if we can get at
Also,
least that
Absorbing Man
level
looked
of
pretty good. I
effects,
gotta say,
he did look
he did look good.
pretty decent. So if they can give us at least that level, I'll
Yeah,
be totally fine with it.
absolutely. Because it's the story what's gonna hold it.
But they did pick characters that are pretty easy to do without a lot
Yes,
of crazy
which is
effects. You
smart.
can do Luke Cage without a whole lot of
Nah,
effects.
because like if
He's
just bullets bouncing off his chest, that's fine.
right, and wire foo stuff when
Yeah,
he throws a dude hella far
yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
fine. That's fine. They can handle
And
that stuff.
Iron Fist is just fighting and make his hands glow a couple times and you're
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's like anybody probably could do that in post.
All right.
Glowing
I can do that
hands.
in After Effects if I try
It's
hard.
like he's got like he could probably like speed up punches and shit like that, like do Fist of the North Star style stuff.
Oh man, ooh, that'd be cool.
Like, because I made was like asking for a commission during the
Yeah.
weekend. It was like maybe next time he's like I could get like an Iron Fist piece where he's just like doing like 1,000 punches and you just see like the shadow effects of all the punches. And I'm like, it's kind of like Fist of the North Star. And it's like, oh yeah, like kind of like that. I'm like, Iron Fist can do that shit. He's like, well, he's Iron Fist.
You should draw him doing that to the dude from Fist of the North Star.
I don't know who'd win.
It's got to be Iron Fist, man. He's
Then
a
again, he's
hero,
got the quote. It's like you're already dead.
and he's got the glow. He's like the last dragon.
You don't know. You're already dead though.
Yeah, it's true, but it had that U.S. movie makes it the worst.
It does. That was really bad.
Didn't that have oh man, what's the name of that actor now? I almost called him Randy Quaid, but that was definitely not him.
That would be the best if it
Who
did.
was the fat guy villain in that movie?
I don't recall, man.
He's some famous well, famous. He's some actor that
He's some
died.
famous. Oh, not famous.
Fist of the North Star. I'm looking this up. It has to
Of
happen.
course, you're looking it up.
Star, IMDb. Um, because that guy makes me laugh. He was in like Rush Hour and stuff. What is? Oh, I forgot Dante Basco was in that movie.
What? I need to rewatch Fist of the North Star. If only
That
it
is
was on
amazing.
Netflix.
Oh God. Chris Penn. He's Sean Penn's brother. I knew he was some other actor's brother. That's
Oh
what I
yeah,
got
shit. That's right. He was in it.
there. Yeah. I think he got messed up and he tried to like bandage his head so it wouldn't explode or whatever.
Yeah, that's all part of it, man.
Yeah. But just how they made it look was hilarious to me.
I need to rewatch that though, seriously.
Yep, yep, yep. Don't do it though. You'll be disappointed. It'll be like when we rewatched fucking Dragon Ball Evolution.
After buying it?
Yeah, it was so terrible. Good thing we got that on Blu-ray.
You need some films on Blu-ray.
So great. So great. Well, Gary Daniels, he's not a bad martial artist, but
He's not. And he
but
wasn't bad as the dude, to be honest.
he wasn't the worst. He was the worst part of that movie, certainly.
No.
But there was a lot of
I think the movie was the worst part of the movie.
I got to agree there, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Back to Daredevil.
to end on Fist of the North Star.
It's North Star because of Iron Fist. Iron Fist of the North Star. I might do a piece like that, actually. Damn, I'm doing it. I'm drawing that, dude.
Yeah.
Iron Fist of the North Star. Yep, Daredevil's awesome.
Final note: Daredevil's awesome. If somehow you avoided it, please go watch it.
Go get Netflix. It's cheap.
Get Netflix. It's worth it. Just get it 1 month, man.
Yeah.
It's
Or you know what?
$10, and then watch it all.
Watch it all. Then just cancel it. Or you can wait until it goes on iTunes and buy it there because you know it's going to go on iTunes.
Right, but I guarantee it'll be more expensive to buy each episode
That's
than it
very
would
true.
Netflix month.
Netflix is like what, $11? Watch it. Watch a couple of other Netflix stuff for that whole month as well. Or you can just watch Daredevil over and over and over again. Worth
Hey,
it.
I watched it twice. You might as well, man.
You
It's
can do
really
it.
good. Find more and more Easter eggs and tell us
That's
about
exactly it. And yeah, great stuff. Looking forward to the next Netflix Marvel shows. Looking forward to Age of Ultron in a fortnight. Should be good. Oh, also, you've got the Ant-Man trailer that's out in like what? It should be out when this episode comes out, probably.
Yeah, it should be out tomorrow.
Yeah, which is probably now when you're,
Right. Well, later today for
Later
me because
today
it's
for
now
you.
5 in the morning.
Excellent.
Yeah.
This
My
episode, we're recording it now, obviously, but it'll probably be up in about, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
That's how we roll.
Roll it. And speaking of that, I don't know when exactly today they're supposed to drop that trailer. They just said today on Marvel's site first. So, could be anytime.
So Marvel.com?
Yeah, I'm at it now. It's not up.
Not up? Okay. It'll go on their YouTube channel, though, right?
Yeah, but they said it's gonna be on their site first. That's where to watch it first. But yeah, eventually it'll be on YouTube shortly after. I'm
I
sure.
mean, it's not difficult to just type in Marvel.com in my URL browser, though. So
It's certainly not.
I could probably do that, but
Yeah.
no, I'm lazy.
I'm sure it'll be on YouTube before you know it.
Yeah.
In any case, show is great.
Great.
Watch it now.
Yep.
Stay chipper, chaps. We're out.
Yep.